श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम्। श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम्। नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जमुखकर कञ्जपदकञ्जारुणम्। कन्दर्पागणित अमितछविनवनीलनीरज सुन्दरम्। पटपीतमानः तडितरुचिशुचि जनकसुतावरम्। श्रीराम श्रीराम राम राम सिया राम। श्रीराम श्रीराम राम राम सिया राम। श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम्। श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालु भज मन हरण भव भय दारुणम्। नवकञ्जलोचन कञ्जमुखकर कञ्जपदकञ्जारुणम्। कन्दर्पागणित अमितछविनवनीलनीरज सुन्दरम्। तमानः तडितरुचिशुचि नौमि जनकसुतावरम्। श्रीराम श्रीराम राम राम सिया राम। श्रीराम श्रीराम राम राम सिया राम।
All right. Am I audible? Audible? Yeah, a few weeks ago. Let go. Sorry? Even. Okay. Mhm. Okay, who wants to start? Mhm. Mhm.
All right. For the Mare Ram traditions.
Hi guys. How was it? Good. Leave it.
So, yes, Father, it's long, but it's focused on very little part of it. But one was very touching is that when it was the last day of war, and everyone else than Ravan was killed.
Nice.
So Ravan is just sitting on the throne and he falls asleep and he dreams it. And when he dreams it, Sri Ram comes and there is a huge dialogue between him and Ramji about why you knew, then why are you doing this? You could have sent me. तुमने मुझे क्यों नहीं समझाया? ऐसा बोल. It was all well, father. I, in short, he said that I sent you many signs, like Vibhishan told you, Mandodari told you, all the names he took. But if whom do you think who sent all those people? It's only me who sent them.
Yes.
You still could not get the point, you know. And it shows that once he finishes his dream, he comes back to his Ravan mode again. Yeah, it was very nice fun.
Wow, interesting. Thank you. Good. No? Yes. Manat? No? Intimidating. Either you ask a question or it's a 2 hour monologue. Huh?
Like the way modern day scientists talk of consciousness, like I'm conscious of thoughts, you, this perception. How is that related to what you talk of infinite consciousness? Like, what is that related to?
It's a tough one because it is impossible also to generalize what we say modern day scientists speaking about consciousness because, like, who's it, Daniel Dennett or something, and David Deutsch, all these people will speak in different ways about consciousness. Some of them sound Advaita actually. So, that I'm conscious of, if I'm conscious of means that I'm perceiving, then we've explored what perceiving means. The movement or the functioning of attention is what we call perception. But if consciousness is the sense of being, that I exist, then that sense I exist, what is its source? What is its boundary? Who is this I that exists? All of these questions can be answered only in the heart, in the light of the Atma within. So the sages have told us that this existence is the boundless existence, the boundless, boundaryless, beyond space, beyond time being, which is also called Saguna Brahman. Yeah? So, how to come to the discovery of all of this is to come to the presence of this being, which God has, to say it poetically, God has put the presence of Himself, of this being, in our heart. That is called the Atma. So we have to come to say your question is something else.
Yeah, like I mean, it's quite evident that I'm experiencing all this. And
Yeah.
how does that fit into Advaita framework? We are experiencing all this.
Perceiving.
Perceiving and consciousness.
Prior to the birth of attention, do you experience anything?
Prior to the birth, this is all revelatory stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So when are you, like, when are you conscious of your own being?
Those words, I don't know what exactly, but how does this
You're
fit in?
conscious of your own being when you wake up, isn't it? You sense for what wakes up first thing in the morning. Suppose morning.
I wake up.
I wake up. So that waking up, can you put it in other terms? When you say I wake up, what happens?
Perception is there.
Yes, perception is there. Now, if you were to go really slow, would you say first thing perception is there or first thing you are there? Hmm? Like, have you ever had a moment or two where you are, but there is yet no perception? Like you just woke up in that instant. There's a sense I am, but you don't know which body this is. You don't know which universe this is. You have no idea whether this is dream state or waking state. You have those,
That is.
isn't it? You have a moment or two like that where I amness is there. Like I am. But what I am is not yet apparent. And no, the realm of perception is not yet, the attention is not yet getting involved in the realm of perception. So, with the birth of our being in this way, in what we call the beginning of the waking state, there is also the birth of a quality called attention, isn't it? Before this, was there attention in sleep state, in deep sleep state?
No.
There was no attention. So, when I am, there is also attention which is, you see, I can say I direct my attention outside, or I try to direct it inside, or I try to direct it outside the window, whichever way we want to direct it. So this directable attention, you see, is the light of experience in that experience which we call perception. You see, so then when we say I experience this, it is this I am itself which has a sense of control over this power of attention, and that attention becomes a tool for us to have perceptual knowledge, which we will usually call experience, isn't it? So that is the realm of, well, let's call that outer experience. You know? Now, when we come to the Atma within, it is not a question of this kind of experience. You see? It is a different realm of experience. That's why that is called intuitive insight. It is not reliant on these modes of experiencing. So consciousness is is recognized through intuitive insight and not through a functioning of attention. Clear? We give good practice to Georgie with this question and answer to interpret. I can't see her though. There she. Okay, so we started with the heart of the matter, but in very technical terms. So we'll try to simplify and make it available and approachable for everyone, what is being shared. Otherwise, it must have sounded like some what is going on. And all this will become clearer and simpler as you are coming more and more to intuitive insight. This will not seem like complicated terms. Yeah.
What is consciousness like? You were saying like you reach your inner self, but how do you reach your Atma? How you know that like you are there?
How will you know
Like
that you are
know
there?
that like how do I reach there?
Yes.
My Atma, my consciousness.
Yes.
How do I do that?
First thing is that you have to want the truth, or whether you call the truth God or reality or the highest self, capital S, you have to want that more than the world at least. So when this longing for the truth or the longing for God deepens so much, you see, that I don't have to give up on the world necessarily, but God becomes first priority or truth becomes first priority. Then by having only that as my only remaining desire, which burns up all the other desire, then that is one of the prerequisites. So if you already have a sense of longing for the truth, you already have a sense that there is something missing in the way life is presently. Like it seems to be all stable. I am this body, I have a mind, I have to get, we've talked about the elements of what the mind wants, relationships, and all of that. And then my life is complete, and then I die. In that story, you have to have some inkling that something is missing in this picture. You see, something is missing in this picture. This apparent view of the life of a body is not satisfactory, is not complete. It's like you're watching a movie, okay? In a movie, the characters are going about playing themselves, but you feel like something is going to happen. This doesn't seem complete. You see? So first you start getting this sense कि कुछ तो हो रहा है which I can't really understand. Like something is happening which I can't really understand through just the outer exploration. You see? And then you start getting this sense that even if this whole outer world belonged to me, that I wanted love from this world, I got the most love. Suppose I had the superpower that I could get the whole world to love me. Uh, I wanted material things, and suppose I get a superpower that I am the lord of this outer universe. You see, I wanted a healthy body, and God has given me an immortal body. Suppose all of these things happen. And yet, even in all of this, you say, no, there is something which is missing in this picture. You see? And I want to tell you that what is missing is the main thing. The elephant in the room is being neglected. You see? Now, whether we come to the elephant in the room through an exploration of who, what I really am, or through a love and a deepening surrender to God, you see, or whatever pathways our teachers may tell us, the pathways are available. But first, we have to really say, okay, so what is really going on here? Am I just this body which is meant to partake in this material desire and all of that, and then I die? Is that all that this life is about? Hmm? So, do you have a sense that there is something is there which is missing in this picture? Okay, very good. So, if you already have that sense, then the exploration starts by turning inwards. You see? Now, we call it turning inwards, but what does it actually mean? When we turn inwards, where do we go? Huh? Yes, but where is that? Is it inside the body? Is it? So we turn inwards. If it was turning inwards to the body, then it should be like an X-ray machine, isn't it? It should be organs, blood, flesh. That turning inwards would be turning inside the body. But when we turn inwards, we are introduced to a space which is beyond this three-dimensional or four-dimensional world. If you count time, it is beyond all of this. So that turning inwards is very important. And by the way, when you learn to live having turned inwards, the sages have also told us Antarmukhi Sada Sukhi, which means the one who has turned inwards is always happy, is always peaceful, is always joyful. You see? So even if you're looking for peace and absence of suffering, turning inwards is the only solution. Now, if you're a Jnani type temperament, you will say, which realm have I entered when I turn inwards? Yeah? And if you're a Bhakta type temperament, you will say that the sages have told me that God's presence is available when I turn inwards in the form of the Atma within. You see, that is why Sada Sukhi, that is why always happy, because when we are with God, there is no possibility of suffering. You see? So, uh, in this process of turning inwards, so yes, please.
You said that when we turn inwards, God's presence is available as Atma within. So,
Yeah.
are you saying that's Atma Darshan, or are you like, so then I'm just asking that are we truly turning, so are we not turning fully inward yet, that we have not had the darshan, or how is it? Like, am I turning inward and because I'm having I'm out of my mind and I'm experiencing something, but you know what I'm asking?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the best example of this, which came up in Satsang, which you'll remember now, is that when you go to a traditional Indian temple, you go to the Garbhagriha, the Sanctum Sanctorum. Are you able to see the murtis, the idols of God immediately? Not able to sometimes, not even, mostly. Like if they were not diyas or external lights, you would not be able to see. But as you stay there, then our eyes get used to that amount of light. You see? Over a period of time, then the revelation starts to happen. So that's a good metaphor that although he is always available to us when we turn inwards, and we are in his presence as we turn inwards, but the apparency, the revelation, the Atma Darshan happens only when he knows it is the right time or she knows it is the right time.
So,
Yeah.
is it gradual or is it like lights on, lights
It's
off?
gradual, 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 gradual.
And
Then-
lights on. Okay.
Gradual, 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 gradual. I don't know how gradual, how much gradual, and then apparent, and then feeling like, but this was always apparent. We talked about it last time. That the feeling that this was always apparent, and yet the mind will come up with a fear that I hope I don't lose this now. Is it for the first few days? You could have this fear. So, uh, so remember that the transformation of our insides, the transformation of our soul, our antakarna, happens when we turn inwards, whether his presence, the Atma within, is apparent or not. Because when we are in the sanctum sanctorum, his presence is actually there. It's not visible or revealed to us at this moment. And yet, because we are so intimate with him or her at that moment, we cannot help but be transformed. We cannot help but be transformed. If I say that I'll turn inwards to God, I only do it because I want to know the truth. But I don't want to become more loving. I don't want to become more kind. I don't want to become more faithful, more compassionate. You see, but you can't help it. By going to his presence, her presence, you are going to be transformed whether you like it or not. You see? So then, to deepen on Manat's question, if she's saying, so what should I do specifically? You see, what can I do for Atma Darshan? So we've defined all spirituality is a pathway to spirit. You see, it should be the most obvious thing, but somehow in modern world, spirit is forgotten in spirituality. So the pathway to the Atma is the pathway which is defined in any true spiritual path. Yeah? So what is the spiritual path that appeals to us? I trust the time-tested paths a lot, like self-inquiry was mentioned in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and if I'm not mistaken, by the sage Yajnavalkya. So it is thousands of years old. The path of taking God's name is a very ancient path, again, from the Vedas itself. So the pathway of being empty, open and empty in the no mind, the Buddhist teachers, the Zen teachers have been talking about it for thousands of years. So all of these, the pathway of loving God with everything that we have and to love our neighbors in the same way is a pathway which has been there for thousands of years. So all of these pathways you can trust. So whichever appeals to you, dive in, dive in and follow. So what is the pathway that appeals to us? Want to share?
So I just have one more question.
With that mind?
Like just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So, like, even if I turn inward, right? Like, can I still feel the void inside? Like, you say that, like, you'll get peace, you'll never face the suffering. But I believe people are so much spiritual, right? Like, not whole of the population. People are turning, right? But still, there is so much suffering. Still,
Okay.
people suffer, even they do so
So
much bhakti.
try to turn inwards and suffer.
Yeah. How can I do that?
I'll tell you why it happens. That you're absolutely right. That there are millions of
Hmm.
spiritualists in the world, and they want to follow beautifully. Now, why do they still suffer? Because there is a opposing force to turning inwards. You see, there's an opposing force to turning inwards, which is called, in Indian spirituality, it is called Maya. So that Maya is Main Aya, which means me comes. So this, when the me comes, you see, so Ravan was a very learned spiritualist. He was a pandit. He knew all the scriptures. He had great revelation also. But then he got stuck in Maya because it became all about him. It became all about Ravan instead of becoming all about God. So this opposing force, all of us are afflicted by it. We turn inwards, you see, and then we turn back to me. What is the turning outwards? The turning towards the me. You see, we have not yet turned outwards if we are just perceiving the world in the waking state, but not caught on to the me yet. We're still inward facing. You see? So when we turn outwards is when we latch on to the narrative of the me, when we latch on to the story of the me. So that's why Anand Mahima's definition, Maya is Maya, or the me comes, is a great gift to me. Because I would not have been able to explain it with that much simplicity otherwise. You see, these sages say these very simple sounding things, but there is such depths to those things. You see? Now, the sages have also told us that the lane is very narrow. Rahima gali hai sakri, ya Kabira gali hai sakri, whichever way you want to say. The lane is very narrow. If there is me walking on that lane, there is no space for God. If there is God walking on that lane, there is no space for me. Now, this sounds so simple, but it is the crux of our entire spiritual life. Because when me walks, it is Maya. When God walks, we have turned inward towards God. So, why do we suffer? Because, like in my case, I can say all of these things, but at least 20, 30 times in a day, I must be falling for me. I must be getting into Maya. And the suffering here is almost instantaneous. So, for me, it's like touching an electric. You see? Most times, sometimes, of course, I must be holding on to it more deeply, but most times it's like you touch it, you feel the spark, it's not a fun spark, and you say, okay, I've gone to the wrong place, return to God. So that time gap between our getting into the realm of suffering and our returning, you see, now one of the main things why we continue to suffer is that we want to be right. So if I take a position about this me, it's not easy for us to drop that position. You see? Now, suppose that you say, Ananta, from my understanding, this is what is true. And suppose you were not even attached to it 5 seconds ago, but you have said it now. So once you have said it, then to say, no, no, this was rubbish, I don't feel it is right, takes a lot of doing, because we feel we are so right. So that feeling of being right. So when we hold on to the me, we don't instantly pull back because now we want to prove ourselves right. You see? And that's why we continue to suffer even when we are on the wrong path. So Amol was telling us this beautiful story. He went for this play. What is the name again? Hamare Ram. So in that, Ravan has a dream in which Ramji comes. And he says to Ramji, he complains to Ramji that you could have explained to me why did we need to get here? You see, why did we need to get to this point? Why didn't you explain to me? So Ramji said, your own biological brother explained to you. Your wife explained to you. I sent Hanuman, I sent Angad, I sent so many people to explain to you. Now, who do you feel like sent all of those? You see? So in our life, we are constantly being nudged by God to drop selfishness, to drop the me, to drop egotism, and to turn to God. But when we don't pay attention to those nudges, then it has to come in a stronger way. That stronger way is what we usually call suffering. If we are more in tune with our heart compass, then we will follow the nudges of God within, empty of ego. Like if something needs for us to apologize, we realize in our heart that I was coming from a place of lack of love, then we are quick to apologize, slow to anger. You see, usually we are quick to anger and slow to apologize. You see? So we may not initially realize the value of these virtues, but you see, it's all connected to dropping this me, all connected to living empty of this me. Yeah. So fundamentally, I feel one of the best metaphors that has come to share from here is to say, who is at the center of your frame right now? Is it me or is it God? Is it me or is it God? And then when we feel like I love talking to you as practitioners now, because as practitioners, you're giving me the practical issues, day-to-day things, day-to-day struggles which are happening in your lives as you're struggling to keep God in the center of the frame. One of the tricks of the mind is saying that I tried, but I failed. You see, I tried, but I failed. I can't do it anymore. This is just not true. Our antakarna will always have a greater capacity than our mind will determine. You see, you cannot fail, and the representative of this is the army of Lord Hanuman, the army of Sugriv which fought on behalf of Lord Ram against the forces of evil, even though the forces of evil were much greater in number, but the Lord's army was much greater in faith. So that is the spirit we need to have no matter what Maya is giving us. You see? Always that spirit that God is here, He is with me. What do I have to fear? Yeah? And as you practice this more and more, you will get that inner strength to do it. And get that inner strength to do it. And one of the examples which works really well is to say the form of the Lord. If you resonate with a particular form of the Lord, then if he or she was to appear to you in front of you right now, how would you be? Suppose Radharani came in front of you, how would you be? Right? Suppose you recognized her, how would you be? Yeah, how will your mindset be, your emotions be, your body be, all this, how will you be? Suppose she came right now in front of you. You will not feel like joyful. Yes, correct. So you feel that. All of us will feel that joy, all of us will feel that strength, all of us will feel that love. You see? And the spiritual pathway is going to take this, which seems to happen only when we find something through perception to make it about the finding in faith. To make it about the finding in faith. That's why in the lives of the great sages, they lived in that wonder, love, peace, joy, even though externally they may have very difficult events in their lives. You see? Because in their faith, they were living as if the Lord is holding their hand, even in this moment. You see? Now, faith is not blind belief, andhavishwas. You see? Faith is a completely different realm of knowledge. What you know in your heart. You see, one example I take for the parents, I have to find, actually for children also it will work. So if you say, suppose you're very irritated with your parents, you're very irritated with your parents, and parents can answer. Suppose you're very irritated, even angry with your children right now, but you tell them, do you love your children? Do you love your parents? You see, that even in that state of anger, if you gave them truth serum, they would say yes. You see, they would say yes. So we know intuitively this love. Now, is that love a blind belief? Oh, these are my children, I must love them, so I force myself to love them. No, it's not like that. It's a true, it's a true recognition. It's a true insight. Now, that true insight, which is to be met in our faith, has been covered up with what? Ganeshwarji told us that those who have immersed themselves in lack of love or absence of love, then they become hard-hearted. You see, Vajralep. Vajra is the strongest substance in the universe. Lord Indra's weapon is made out of, is called the Vajra. So that substance. So those who learn, have conditioned themselves to live in me, 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 me. You see, then they cannot meet that love. Sometimes not even for their children or their parents, because they've got so deeply embedded in that Maya that there's a strong coating. So in the Christians, they call it becoming hard-hearted. They become hard-hearted. So when you are in the process of loving God, then we become soft-hearted. Not fearful. Soft-hearted doesn't mean fearful. It becomes easy to love and easier to be loved. People recognize our absence of pride, and we become easier to love. That's why all of us, when we go to the park in the morning, for example, we're easy to love because we are not carrying any, hopefully not carrying any shosha, pride, this kind of thing. So then it's easy, like people find us friendly and communicative and not stuck up in stupid ideas about ourselves. We find it easier to love everyone, and we ourselves become easier to love. Yeah. So from the super technical to the super practical, yes. More follow-up? Okay, nice. I want to tell you all, and it occurred to me in a conversation that I was having with a child, that I'm taking full responsibility for you, for each and every one of you. Full responsibility for you. If you walk along with me, I will give it my all for you to come to God. No, not less than my all, everything possible. So, full. It is, I realized in the conversation itself the enormity of the responsibility that God has put on my shoulders. When He sends children to Satsang, and it doesn't matter what age those children may be, but when He sends children to Satsang, He makes it the teacher's responsibility to give it his all or her all to bring every one of you to God, bring every one of you to the truth. And Guru Purnima is coming on Wednesday. We may not be sharing much, but I just want to tell you that I'm seeing that that is my responsibility. You see? But you have to participate. You have to come. You have to bring up, because I'm not clairvoyant. God is not giving me any siddhis. I was last in line for siddhi collection when siddhis were being given, special powers were being given. So I have no special powers, I have no special ability. I'm just a simple lover of God. But if you come up to me, you bring up your questions, you say that you're having these problems, this is what's getting to you. You try to follow everything that is being shared with as much as you can, then I'm fully at your service. You see? So the guru may be sitting on a pedestal, but actually he is the one in service. I'm also here to tell you that the pathway to God is real, it works. He is actually here. It is not made up. You see? It is not made up. The Atma is not made up. His reality as Nirguna Brahman is not made up. His reality as Saguna is not made up. Okay? Either I'm like fully deluded, or I can tell you that it is not made up. Now it is up to your judgment to say whether it seems like I'm fully deluded or fully sane. But if you feel I'm sane, then you must not forget this. You see? Because when you're stuck in Maya, God will seem like a distant conceptual idea. He will not seem like a reality. I want to tell you that the reality, the vastness of your inside is much more than this outer seeming world that we have. In this outer world, we have a few topics, four main topics, four. That's as complicated as you have. We think we are very complicated. But four main topics and few special relationships. We are caught up in the story of all of this for all of our lives. You got an Amazon delivery. So, so that is the extent of our life. It seems very complicated, but tell me if it's more than this. Four things. You know what they are? What are they? Relationship, security in the form of money, health of the body, and search for conceptual understanding and meaning. These are the four variables. So between these four variables, and let's say what, 10 to 20 special relationships that we have, parents, children, beloveds, or whatever people that we love in some way or the other, people we hate in some way or the other, these special relationships that we say we are involved with. So these 10, 20 things and these four variables is what our whole life is. But the texture of your inside, do you know that there is a temple for God inside you? You see, the holiest, the holiness of your heart temple cannot be compared with anything in the outer universe. You see? The whole outer universe may become a tiny object and be available to you to put in your pocket, but that cannot compare to the holiness of the temple in your heart. The textures of His love within your heart, the play of this love game that is happening between our antakarna, our soul, and our spirit. It is His spirit, His Atma. This interplay of this love, which is happening on the inside, you could have the best outer relationships in the world, and that will not match this. The revelation in the form of what you find yourself to be, your very own self to be. You could become the best bodybuilder in this universe, but what you find about yourself is uncomparable to that. Your oneness, closeness, unity with that, with the one who is the highest, that revelation cannot be compared with anything in the world. And you know what the good news is? The good news is that as you learn to live in surrender to the beloved in your heart, even your outer takes care of, even the outer is taken care of. Not in the way that your mind may want it or your ego may want it, but in the most auspicious way, it is taken care of. So we are switching out from the operating system of me to the true operating system of God is the highest gift that you can give to yourself, even in terms of your outer life. This is what one point is coming strongly to make, that no matter how right you're feeling, no matter how righteous you're feeling, or how important the coming into the narrative of the me may seem like, even you intellectually also will have to admit that everything is only better, can only get better with God. You see? So when our mind convinces us to leave God's presence and handle this in our own strength, then even that is not even intellectually viable, isn't it? On one hand, you have the Lord of the universe with you see? And the other hand, so there's a famous story about this in our history, which is that Lord Krishna had a huge army. The army of Dwarka was a huge army. So on the two sides of the battle in the Mahabharata, uh, there was one side which was the evil side and one side which was the good side. Now, the evil side got an option to pick first. The Lord said, you can either have my countless, infinite, almost army, or I can be with you, but I will not fight. I will be available to you as a guide, you see, because I cannot fight in this battle. So the evil army, the head of the evil army, Duryodhana, got a chance to pick first. Guess what he picked? He picked the army. He picked the. He says, "We have enough guidance. Who wants this guidance? So let's pick the army. Then we will be unbeatable." You see? And then the good side, they would have picked the Lord anyway, because they recognize that this is not some mere individual here. He is an incarnation of the Lord himself. So they had Krishna as a charioteer for Arjuna. You see? So our life is the same way. We may try to build up our defenses by getting more money, by getting more relationship, by getting healthier body. You see? But the highest we can get is God's presence. If you learn to live with the Atma within, then you will not be shaken by anything in this world. And for that, Swami Ramsudarji said one of the most beautiful things, that God is actually the easiest to get. We may not agree with that at all times. I would not have agreed with that on many times. Why did he say God is the easiest to get? Because God is the only one we can get just by turning to them. All we need to do is turn inwards towards him. And he can't resist us. He is ours. He never says no. You see? For everything else, you have to do some other effort. Even this instant D2C, e-commerce mode, you have to go to an app. You can't just say, okay, now, margarita pizza, turn towards it, and it doesn't work like that. You have to pay, you have to do some transactions, then it's your. In outer relationships, you have to go through courtship, you have to convince the other one, no, I'm right for you, no, I'm right. Once you convince each other you're right for each other, then you start convincing each other that you're wrong for each other, or you convince yourself you're wrong for the other one is wrong for you. All these silly mechanics come into play. You see? Only God is the one that is eternal, and that is the only love which goes on deepening, goes on sweetening, goes on giving us more and more satisfaction, contentment, joy. Now, are there times of dryness? Are there times of aridity? Of course there are. Imagine how arrogant we would be without that. So he knows exactly the right amount of medicine to give us. But our love for the Lord, our love for God must not depend on the taste. Our love must not be selfish and wanting something out of it. You see, that's why Masha Bri is a beautiful story that I share almost every satsang, so I won't repeat, but she didn't want anything out of Ramji. She only wanted to serve him. That is very, very high. That is something I'm starting to learn now. I'm still very far from it. It's very, very high. To want to be with God only to make yourself available to serve him. You see? Not even for peace, not even for love, not even for joy, not even for truth, but how can I serve you? You see? That is a true bhakta, which I'm not even 1% of that yet. Just starting to learn little. So imagine if your whole antakarna, again, not speaking from experience, but imagine if your whole antakarna was available to provide joy to the Lord instead of expecting that He will provide us joy. So she did, Ma Shabri did seva. I said I won't share the story. So she did seva for 60 years, collecting berries, tasting each berry, whether it's sweet or not, just in case Lord Ram may come and taste that berry. And setting flowers on the pathway every day. She became an old woman but kept doing this. And when he came, she did not say, now give me this, give me that. She said, come lie down on my lap. You haven't met your mother for so many years. Let me give you some rest. Such depth in these stories which we don't realize. Okay? Just want to.
She didn't even say that, tell all others who are making fun of me and that you are wrong, I am right now. Not even that.
Not even that. She didn't want validation. She didn't want any of that. She just says, come get some rest. And Ramji reciprocated and said that lying down on your lap feels like I'm lying down in the lap of my mother after so many years.
You said, like, imagine if your whole antakarna is available for God, to please God. How do we, like, so keep the intention and then He'll just keep showing you
Yes.
how you do that.
Just want nothing out of him. Just make yourself available. Like Saint Therese of Lisieux, she said, "Oh Jesus, so many, all my brothers and sisters ask you to take the initiative and say, do this for me and do that for me and do this for me. You must be tired, you know. So I offer myself for you to get some rest on. I want nothing from you. I'm just making myself available for you to rest." What a beautiful intention. Did she know that God cannot get tired? Of course she knew. But it is that sentiment, it is that bhava, which is so beautiful.
So, like, the endurance or tapasya that you talk of is also a form of that, no?
Yes.
To
Yes.
just
As we
not.
deepen in our tapasya so much and so much that to stay with him become more and more natural. See, then like initially when we are starting our spiritual sadhana, it can seem difficult and we keep asking God for his strength to help us fight this maya. And that's absolutely fair. So I'm not saying don't do that. We have to fight in his strength. But as we learn to live more and more in his presence, then rather than asking or petitioning him constantly for things that we want,
Even strength,
huh?
even to ask for strength is
after a while, like
doesn't feel true to me, right?
it's all right. That's why I said I'm just starting to start. Not even like not even 1% down this road yet. Yeah? But imagine we can still uh, imagine the beauty of that way. Right? We can imagine the beauty of that way, and it inspires us to deepen in that way. It should not become oppressive that I haven't got that yet. You see, that's why I started by saying that I'm just starting out. I'm just not even a beginner on this aspect of it. No? That is very inspirational.
Can I ask that? So, I'm just struggling to actually formulate this question. It's because you said that when we turn inwards, it's like then there's no me there. I mean, like you've left the me. Is that right? Oh,
When our antakarna is turned inward to God, not just our attention, it may
Yes,
start
that's
off
what
with
I
our attention, but many times our attention could be inward, but we could be stuck in the mental narrative of the me, which is not to turn inward.
So I was thinking that when I begin by turning inwards, my attention is not on the sensory things anymore,
Yeah.
but the mind is still carrying on saying whatever it
Good.
wants. It can be, and then I have to kind of
Turn
either
even
do
more.
either do the inquiry or something. And
So when we say
we-
turn inwards, we are turning inwards beyond all the realm of perception.
including the thoughts which are
Every
perception.
perception, all phenomena.
And in that, so it's like that focus prayer which you were saying, because sometimes it feels like when I'm chanting, even though I'm turning inwards, that chanting is still carrying on. I mean,
Yes,
I
that's
can't
it.
seem to
That's very-
stop it.
God's name doesn't get in the way. It
Okay,
becomes
that's
ajapa.
okay. That's
Ajapa.
another question. Because you're
Everything is better with God. Whether it's His name, whether it's His presence, whether it's His light, whether it's His love, whether it's His joy, everything is only better with God. In fact, I would go as far as to say that everything is zombie without God.
because one other who was listening to, and they said that at that moment you don't need to take that name anymore. You can
don't
be
need to.
silent.
You don't need to. But what you said is that
Yeah.
it is happening on its own. So it's
Yeah.
ajapa, which means your Atma itself is chanting.
Okay. So I don't. I'm not forcing. I'm in fact trying to stop it because that was the instruction, and then it's
Even if your mind is chanting, so ajapa can happen in the mind itself.
Yeah.
It becomes like the groove of the mind is changed to taking God's name. That itself is also very auspicious. Nothing can ever get worse by having God. Now, what I say sometimes is that at the end of your sadhana, just try to sit in a few moments of silence. Now, in that sitting in a few moments of silence, that moments can become hours based on how you're finding the inner texture. But the repetition of God's name, if it is happening by itself effortlessly, doesn't get in the way of that silence.
What's helpful is just a mental level.
Mhm. So to turn towards Him sounds so simple, but it is a turning away from the me. Is it? And the turning away from the me should be quite natural because this me actually has no substantial existence, if at all it had any existence. It only seems to have. And yet this seeming is the hypnosis, which is called Maya. Is it? Even right now in Satsang, are you able to turn fully to God? Because the me has some, even now it may be offering you some story, but right, wrong, good, bad, agree, disagree, judge what's happening. You may not have heard half the words in satsang because you're processing the narrative in the mind. So that is the battleground of the Mahabharata. You see, it is both the outer battle, but more importantly, it is the inner battle of all of our lives. You see? And I wish we could just wish it away, but we cannot. You see? We try to wish it away by using conceptual spiritual knowledge. You see, in the sense of we use conceptual spiritual knowledge to try and hide from it, but it doesn't. It's not hidden. That knowledge has to become from the heart. You see, your mind is troubling you about a relationship. You're not able to focus on half the satsang, isn't it? So now you could say, but I am the self, I am the self, all of this stuff. But if it's only conceptual, it is not helping you remain in the true place. It has to become from faith in your heart, and that turning that from just conceptual understanding to faithful realization is the spiritual project, is the work we have to do. isn't it? Maya works like this. You may want God more than anything else, but there may be a chocolate cake at the corner of the room, you see, and you're just like, okay, can we have that cake? Yeah, it doesn't have to be like main relationship. It can be anything, also, any desire which the mind sells to us. Yeah. So we have to be very honest and open about these things, and that keeps us very humble. Then the minute we start to believe we've progressed a lot spiritually, then you're not being honest about what can distract you away from God. And I'm speaking all of this about myself. There's no cake in this room, at least right now. Not in the room? Okay. I thought it'll be in the kitchen.
I'm laughing at the thought that there was a cake.
Well, I know that Jyotika's. No Siddhi. Thank God. Thank God for no Siddhi. I thank God for no Siddhi. Without Siddhi, so much pride can be there. If I had some superpower, I don't know what I'd be. Yeah.
Your eyes and you see things.
Like?
But you said
I said like this. Yeah.
like last person saying Yannick
That must. What did I say?
He said looking at his eyes, he's trying to look into whether he did something in the past, something like that he said. Like, that stuff also, yeah.
Some delusions of grandeur I may be having in that time.
If someone's thinking.
Thinking any of you can make up. It just requires attentiveness too. You can see the eyes as well. Your Brahma Gyan could be shared on the outside, but your forehead gets free. Forehead gets free. I keep getting the notifications on my computer. Right. Oh, you wanted to ask? You can ask. See you so well.
Father, you said something about being selfless and surrendering towards God and serving Him, right? But at the same time, the thought in my head that is kind of stuck is that the selfish human in us kind of is walking into that service also with the idea of expectation that He will take care of us. Because we are expecting somewhere or the other. So we are not 100% serving with the idea of serving. We are somewhere having that expectation that we'll be taken care of. And just in case we are not taken care of, we'll have so much of distress around the service as well. I want some understanding around it.
Because you're able to conceptualize these kind of big human condition question. Maybe that's why you're attracted to the self-inquiry. No, because have you noticed that there is one bane of the human condition? Oh, that one bane, there are many banes, but this one bane is big, which is that we are able to conceptualize all the big questions, but we're not able to conceptualize any big answer at. You see? So for the answer to come needs an intuitive revelation. You see? Because any of the conceptual questions have a lot of premise which is built inside them. So you said that in spite of trying to be selfless, there is a selfish human being that still lives inside of us. Now, is this a premise or reality? Isn't it? So, as we are taking on the path of the truth, we then explore and say, no, is this actually true? Is there a selfish human being living inside me? If there is, who is this me within which selfish human beings can live? You see? So, are we talking about our mind space? Are we talking about our emotional state? Who is this? So, your question, which I'm so grateful to God that you love this question, which is, who am I? Will clean up a lot of this duality, confusion. So when you say, so now on the path that you picked, that you are resonating with for the moment, we have to cut out as much presumption as possible. You see, so as much presumption as possible. Now repeat the question without any presumption. Try now. What remains? Yes, because if you rely on just presumed things, then you will not come to the truth. You see, now one thing that the mind intellect system loves is to solve non-existent problems. You see? Now, if you see that there is no such thing, all that I am is that awareness which is aware of a boundless consciousness. And within that, all this play of light and sound appears. All these ideas of separation and duality is just made up. Suppose you realize that. It was not presumed. Suppose that you realized it. Then all of these questions would fade away, isn't it? That you saw that you are the pure witnessing itself, within which a being, consciousness takes birth, which is boundless, which is not restricted by any body. Within the light of this consciousness, this play of Maya is happening, this play on the screen of consciousness itself is playing out, but you don't belong inside a particular object on the screen, you are the light of the screen itself. Isn't it? So this is what the sages have told us. Now that has to become a living reality. And it becomes a living reality by our contemplation into the truth, by coming to Atma Jnana in the true place. But what is required for that is that we let go of all that we don't really have evidence of. You see? That those framings that we use to keep the prior identity alive, those have to be let go of. You see? Now your mind will tell you, but this is a very sticky idea, it doesn't leave me. It's very sticky. But the sticker itself is saying it's very sticky. You see? Now, who witnesses that sticky thought? Huh? Sorry, can't hear you. The Atma witnesses. You know this? So you have to know it through lived experience. So till then you may say, I witness it. You see? I witness it. Like you can't deny that you are witnessing it. So I say, okay, then tell me something about this I. Tell me something about this I. We had that conversation, and this conversation will seem to the mind like, what is the point? I'm not coming to the point of it, I'm not, but we have to persist. In Korean Zen, disciples who trust their master are made to face a white wall and ask one question, what is this? You see? And once a week they report to their Zen master and say, this is the answer that I got. And mostly that answer is not received well by the master. Then they're told to go back. You see? Just that one question, you're not allowed to change the question, not allowed to think about anything else. Just, what is this? You see? It's a very potent question, actually. It can seem, of course, it can seem like torture, but it needs a lot of faith in the path to follow that. No? So in the same way, the path of self-inquiry needs a lot of faith for you to follow. Like, I will not presume an I unless I meet this I. Like, I will not presume either the selfish human or the Atma unless I've met it. So then you'll find that if you persist on this path, my child, you'll find that you start to fall in love with the unknown. You see, right now our mind loves certainty because certainty gives us a sense of progress in this world. We are able to write exams because we have certain knowledge about something. We're able to do better in our work because we can say concepts better than others. So we have to go from a place of loving certainty to recognizing the big unknown in our lives, the biggest unknown, which is that I myself am unknown to myself, that biggest unknown. And then you start loving the unknown. You see? So not to presume either the highest spirituality of the Atma or the lowest egotism of the selfish human, unless you can testify to a lived experience of that, not through circumstantial evidence. You see, you may say that I know there's a selfish human that lives here because I have all these selfish thoughts that come. You see, but that is what I'm calling circumstantial evidence. You see, just because there is the smell of a dead rat, in this case, does not prove that there's a dead rat. Yeah? So you cannot go on the circumstantial evidence, the side evidence that these thoughts are coming. So that is why all this is called Maya, a great seeming. It's a great seeming, but what is the tangible reality at the center of it? That is worth finding out. Right? So it's going to be tough because your narrative will start to fall apart. You see? Because on the presumed I, on the presumed nature of yourself, there are many such narratives which we have filled ourselves up with. If you were to do a very objective seeing of these narratives, you will see that they offer a lot, but they deliver very little. You see, they offer a lot of understanding. Now I have understood life is like this, it flows like this, it does like that. But I have to tell some of the kids here, I haven't said this for a long time, but your conclusions today are going to be your confusions tomorrow. You see, so today's conclusions are tomorrow's confusions, unless those conclusions are coming from a true place of true lived insight, Atma Gyan. You see? So till then, you have to be happy to not be able to have any story about your life. You see? Like, what are you without your stories? Happier or more suffering more? Exactly. Exactly. So this is not an oppressive gift. They're like, let go of all your stories. Like, but I'll be so unhappy. It's not true. It's just not true. Our natural state is happiness. You see? So now, because you are attracted to the path of self-inquiry, if I was to ask you, all of those stories that you have about yourself, who do they actually belong to? Do you know this? That they belong to which I? Huh? Huh? Which you're not finding, na? Can you produce that I? Where is it? You say it's inside me. So if I give you an X-ray machine, would you be able to find it in the X-ray? You can't find. So the protagonist of all of these stories is not there. You see? So it's like, I was going to say Amitabh Bachchan, but that may not be relatable. Who's, what's his name? Okay, let's just say he's also old now, but let's say Amir Khan. Okay, so Amir Khan went to a market, he got some flowers, then he gave the flowers to Gauri Sprat, and then Gauri Sprat, threw them out the balcony. But actually, at the end, you saw there is no Amir Khan. Then does the story have any viability? It has no legs to stand on now. That I had this problem, I have this good, I have this bad, this is good, this is bad, this is the way I am, this is the way I have been, this is what happened to me. But then I see that there is no such I. Then all of that narrative structure starts to fall apart. And for a while, it's unnerving because we have used these narratives to give us a sense of what is happening in our life. We have not used life itself to give us a sense of what's happening in our life. We've used our understanding, our conceptual, language-based understanding to convey what is happening in our life. Now, in every language-based understanding, there is a false protagonist. So the I, who is in the center of all of your stories, has no reality. And once you see that, that is the best news, because then all these suffering narratives will start to fall apart. But it has to be seen. Otherwise, it becomes like an Advaita denial. You heard these terms, Advaita bypassing or spiritual bypassing or Advaita denial. So if it just remains conceptual, I'm struggling so much in this situation, but there's no such I. Then it's just two concepts fighting. Two concepts fighting. It has to be clearer than the ground beneath your feet. Okay, next one someone else can open if you're chatting. So it has to become clearer than the ground beneath your feet. Do you have to think about the fact that you're sitting right now? You don't have to think about the fact that you're sitting, that there is a ground. You have to think about it. It is like, in a way, it is perceptually known. Now, I am introducing you to a knowledge which is beyond perception also. It's beyond, like, it's not really shaky unless we are in the hypnosis of the mind. So just stay with this rule. It's tough. It's not easy to drop all the stories, but you have to try and make a commitment to me that you will not fall for any story unless you can identify the protagonist. Yes? Deal? Very good. You do very well. Very good. Bless you.
I have one more
Please,
question.
please.
So the last time we had discussion about the Atma and the who is it and turning towards it, had I tried and I had glimpse of it now and then, once or twice or thrice, maybe more. But I can't sit with it, like I can't be with it for long. It's just a few seconds of glimpse and then I'm lost again in the dark space or whatever, I don't know, but it's a feeling of being lost more higher than actually being with it.
This will come because uh, this is a project. It's not going to. It's not. We must not expect, like, already in 2-3 satsangs. If you're saying already that I'm getting glimpses of that stillness, that itself is very good. To stay there, to get to that place where you can just remain in that stillness over a period of time, will take more and more practice, more and more doing. You have to keep at it. And there'll be times which are frustrating. It'll seem like it's not working. Sometimes it may seem like when we start off, God gives us the gifts early to encourage us. Then we have to go through difficulty where it may seem like I'm not able to stay even for a few moments. So we have to be strong in our quest for the truth, which is, I feel you have that strength in the quest for the truth. So stay strong in that and don't get shaken. See, Bachya, I want to tell you one thing, that you have taken on this path of self-inquiry. Now, whatever obstacles come, anything that comes, don't leave it. Just, it'll take you, I promise you, it'll take you to the highest reality. But you have to have a lot of determination. Yes. So some people say that bhakti is the easier path and inquiry is the more difficult path, but it's not necessarily true like that. Some of our temperament, like my temperament, was very inquiry oriented. Bhakti came along the way on the path of inquiry. And yet now I love the bhakti more in a way, if I was to pick. But But it does both have their challenges. But self-inquiry can seem very stark at times. It can feel very stark that I'm not, like, it feel like there's no ground to stand on. No, there's just no ground to stand on. In bhakti, I can say that he's here, he loves me, I love him. We can use this ground, but in inquiry, it's just like, but who? Who are you? You see? So that the more we can carry that question in our strength, our love for the truth, the forces of the false cannot stand against that. So we must consider the love for truth as important or as high as the love for God, because God and truth are the same. See, he has the mic. Anything quick you want to share?
You want to share something?
See?
Before I met you, Father, like somebody had just sown this seed to me, like this question, who am I? Way before I met you, even when I was in the US, like, and it didn't make sense, but it went in.
Yeah.
I'm remembering that time now, actually. And before I met you, maybe I was with Guruji by then. I can't remember the timeline, but I remember seeing Ramana's picture, and like it just hit me something. And then that question, "Who am I?" became very alive. And I remember I used to enjoy that question very much, and it just sit and it would really like something do inside. I would sit and look, and all grace led, because I didn't know you then, but Ramana just, and I remember it brought me to my being it just clicked like that one day, and I said, I know this, I know this one. So it did its work, and then I was for a while, I think,
Yes,
after I
I want
met
to
you
say this
also.
also, that it may sound like I'm making two camps and they're mutually exclusive, but they're not.
Mm.
They can go hand in hand. We may change day to day also. Like we may feel like today I really want to investigate the nature of who I am. Truly, if it's coming from the heart, you can inquire. All of us can inquire.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Because all these stories then become very light. They seem like they're so oppressive, so true. You see, if they were so true, everybody in our life would agree with them. Do you have any story in your life which your family, friends, everybody agrees with? Very rare. It's very rare. We ourselves will change, but it's very rare, because even your siblings will say, you will say, in our childhood, this happened. Oh, actually, this happened the other day. But even otherwise, even with my brother, if I say this happened in my childhood, he'll say, no. When did this happen? This never. He says something, oh, this. Is it? So there's hardly any truth value in any of our narratives. And the main thing is the central one itself is made up. You see, who are we talking about? The body? Say the body wanted God, or the body became spiritual. It's absurd. No? So the body, mind, intellect, emotion, all these layers combine in a way, uh, in the form of a narrative in our head, to make this whole realm of appearances into one individual. But that individual entity doesn't have any legs to stand on. Now, if you go through the four things, no, except the body itself, even okay, we'll come to that. But tell me what problem your body has with your manager at work. It doesn't have. What problem your body has with how much money is in your bank account. Don't know. You see? So most of our life situations, the body doesn't have. But if you say, who are you? Most people will say, I'm this one. What are you saying? So it's a made up entity, made up idea. Oh, thank you. The wake up call to everyone.
So, journey in the narrative, as you said, this made-up entity. When that starts to uh, change, is it how does one negotiate, or I suppose negotiate is again a narrative, but how does it work with the ones that we love? And stay in that, because in the sense that, of course, many sages they went off, because how could anybody who was living with them deal with this? Because okay, you are suddenly beginning to see who you really are, but how does it work really with the ones around one? I'm really, like, I don't know, wondering, I mean, how?
How? In all the ways, in the sense that if there was standard way in it worked, then we would say this is how it always worked. But based on the family, some families join in. In the olden days, if you look at the stories of our sages, all their families also joined in. Okay, look at Sri Ramakrishna, you look at Anand Maima. Both were householders in a way, but their partner joined them, isn't it? On the pathway. Some families won't take it, so you have to find a different way. Some, like in my case, prod along in some way, trying to be as open and loving as possible with each other, although it's difficult. So you try to plod along, plod along. So how can't really define. The more we are empty of the individualized I, the more we trust that he's taking care, like in whatever way. But that cannot and must not get in the way of our inquiry. Like, we have to trust that on the pathway to the truth cannot lead to something inauspicious happening for any of the ones in our lives. This is such great grace. How many first are interested in the question, who am I? Very few. How many of them who are interested find a pathway? Very few. Within those, how many carry the determination to take this through till the end? Very few. So it's such grace that we come to that point. That grace will take care of those around us also.
Father, when you said the center, in the center of frame, whether it's a God or me, it is different from turning inwards and turning outwards, right? Because I can still be inwards and I'm in center of frame, Father.
That's why I was saying that the inwards that I'm talking about is inwards beyond all phenomena.
Even
Then you can't be. The mean is to constantly be nourished by belief in thought. If you've gone inward beyond thought, you can't be immersed in the me. Then you're immersed in the am. And the am is the presence of God. Many times, actually, we haven't spoken about this for many years. Like one child, she was coming to the sense of being itself, the sense of presence itself, and she was taking that to be the me. She's saying, but I'm not able to leave this me. I was saying, don't believe this thought, you've left it. No, but it's still here, it's still here. So I said, what do you mean it's still here? And she was saying, but the sense of existence, the sense of being, so that's what you're searching for. That's what you're turning towards. You see, so don't let your mind convince you that the sense of being itself is a me. Because if you've left your thoughts behind, what me is there?
so, Father, you've given us so many pointers to turn inward. So, Father, can you tell me one example of a pointer to shift me in the center of frame and put God there.
Yes, I'll give you a simple example. So suppose you're going on this story, what about my money situation? Popular, one of the four things. So money situation. What about the money situation? I don't know how it will be, what will happen. So this worry is starting. Then you notice that who's at the center of the frame? It's a me. Then what have you forgotten to do? Taking God's name. Say Ram. Now in that taking of Ram, just have this sense that he is here. If we can't have this sense that only he is here, then have a sense that at least have the sense that he is here, then predominantly that sense that he is here will become bigger in the frame. You see? So that's a simple example. Yeah. In his name, with as much love, as much faith, as much devotion we can put into it, as much of ourselves we can put into it, we bring him in the center by reminding ourselves with his name. In the same example, if we say, oh, I don't have money, what's going to happen? I don't know how to do things. Then if our path is self-inquiry, we say, but who is this I? Who is this I? Who am I? Who is witnessing these thoughts? And then the truth is put in the center of the frame, which is the same as God. It brings us to the same place of stillness. It takes practice. This is the whole process of sadhana. Whether you call it tapasya, spiritual practice, sadhana, to not fall into the narratives of the me, and to give that moment to God, give that moment to God, give that moment to God. That is.
Father,
I'll just come online in a minute. We'll hear one last question from the room.
yeah. So, Father, I'm feeling like it's my first class, and I have one fundamental question, Father. I wanted to ask it.
Class kahan hai?
So, when we say I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this thought, does it create a division between that big I and outer world? Does it create a conflict? Are we escaping from the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Father, this is the confusion I have.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I said that we are not to create two categories in our head. You see? That if you're only conceptually saying, then that duality can be done. So it's better first, if you're feeling like in the niti niti, the sages gave us a thought experiment. They said that if everything that comes and goes is not you, then who are you? Isn't it? So then they've given us the parameters for the path, which is to say, okay, world is changing, it comes and goes, therefore not me, niti. Body is changing. So they've given us the parameter on which we can have faith and follow. If this fear is there of creating conceptual duality and conceptual division, and all conceptual duality creates more suffering. So you're absolutely right to question that. Then it is maybe a clearer question to ask, who am I? Who are you? Is it? Now, in that, you don't have to create any duality. You say that the answer comes, I am this body mind. Is it? You're not to say, I'm not this body mind. You have to say, who witnesses that thought? Yeah? You're not to negate it with a negative concept. You're not trying to create a fight and get one side to win. You're saying, okay, this thought is appearing. Correct? That can't be denied. The answer is coming in the form of the thought. When the thought is appearing, it's a valid question to ask, who witnesses that thought? You see? Now, after you ask that question often enough, then somebody like your teacher may ask you, tell me about the I that witnesses that thought. You see? then he may also or she may also ask you in a negative way, is the I that witnesses the thought a body? You may say no. Is it emotion? You may say no. You see, so in that way you will may be able to negate. But initially just stay with the simple inquiry, who am I? The answer may come, but I am this body, I am Atmaram, I am this name, I am this man. The answer may come, but the answer will come initially only in the form of thoughts. When we are starting our inquiry, we are not getting intuitive insight. We are getting thought. So when the thought comes, Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi has given us the instruction, ask yourself who witnesses that thought. You see? And in asking yourself the question, who witnesses that thought, you will be brought to a silence, to a stillness, where the revelation of the Atma within will happen. That's it. So you're not to create any conceptual duality. Absolutely right. Yes. Okay, may I go to Satyam's mom first?
Hello, Father. She has
Hello.
something to say. Hello,
Yes,
Father.
yes, yes. I saw
Yeah,
her in the chat.
she would say it in Hindi.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
हेलो गुड अच्छा है बहुत देख के अच्छा लगा बहुत अच्छा लगा
Thank you.
तो
बहुत
क्या
धन्यवाद
बताऊँ मैं
आपको भी देख के बहुत अच्छा लगा। हम
क्या
बहुत साल
बताऊँ मैं
पहले आपको देखा था, है ना?
हाँ बहुत साल पहले मैंने आपको सत्संग में देखा था
जी
मुंशी के है ना
जी
ऋषिकेश में
जी
अभी क्या है प्रॉब्लम तो माइंड की होती है असल में वो
हाँ
लड़की है ना मेरी
जी जी
पोती वो पी के मेरे से बात करती है
हाँ जी जी
पी के जब बात करती है तो मेरा कहीं इफेक्ट हो जाता है मेरे थोड़ा सा बॉडी
बिल्कुल
की धड़कन धड़कन बढ़ जाएगी है ना वैसे मैं समझती सब कुछ हूँ कोई ऐसी परेशानी मेरी अपनी कोई परेशानी नहीं है मगर
जी
यही मेरी परेशानी है कि उसकी धड़कन मेरी बढ़ जाती है जब वो पी के बात करती क्योंकि मैंने ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं है नशे में हमारी लाइफ में आया ही नहीं है नशा तो
हाँ
एक ही
जी
चीज़ का है
जी
समझ आया
जी
ना वही
बिल्कुल
नशा
बिल्कुल
है असली असली का
जी
बचपन से
जी
लेके अब तक है
जी
ना पता नहीं उसके लिए मैंने कितने कितने धक्के खाए उस
हाँ
नशे के लिए ओशो
जी
के में कितना घूमी फिर मुझे
हाँ
कोई नहीं छोड़ा फिर आखिर मेरा क्वेश्चन जब ख़त्म हो गए तब मैं पूरी आराम से मैं रमन आश्रम बहुत गई बहुत
हाँ
तो
जी
मेरी ज़िंदगी तो बहुत प्यारी है मगर
हाँ
ये
जी
इसके साथ कुछ अटैचमेंट है या
तो
मुझे
है
समझ में नहीं आ रहा जब कॉल करती है तब वैसे बहुत अच्छी है
हाँ
पी
जी
तब पी के मैं तेरे प्रेम करती हूँ या ये क्योंकि ऐसे लगता है कि क्या हो गया क्या करूँ मैं तो कई दफ़ा ऐसे है बताओ क्या करूँ
तो पहले तो मैं ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि जो हमारी ये बेटी है उसको ये आदत से भगवान मुक्ति दें, आप सबको अपने जीवन में शांति वापस दें। उनकी कृपा
बहुत
से सब
स्वामी जी बहुत
सब हो सकता है उनकी कृपा से। क्या नाम है आपकी बेटी का? नाम क्या है
होन प्रिया
फिर
होन
से?
प्रिया
ओम।
होन प्रिया हाँ
जी जी।
होन प्रिया पॉल
ओम। और वो क्या बैंगलोर आने के लिए राजी हो जाएगी थोड़े दिन के लिए कि नहीं?
नहीं, नहीं होगी। उसके पिताजी साथ रह रही होगी।
अच्छा जी।
हम्म, मैंने पिताजी ले गए तो अब उसके सामने भी लेती है, तो फिर
अच्छा जी।
आ जाए तो अच्छी बात है। बहुत अच्छी। मैं सोचा रमनाश्रम चल जाती हूँ। आपका सत्संग सुना उसने?
हाँ जी,
एक
मुझे
बार
याद है,
आई
एक
थी,
बार है जी, कोविड के टाइम में
याद है ना?
शायद आए।
हाँ।
जी जी।
हाँ, असल में उसका मेरे ख्याल कोई पास्ट फैमिली से आई है ना, अच्छी, जहाँ से प्रेम परिवार देखा या वो यहाँ, वो मैं ओशो कमेंटमेंट के बाद वो चीज़ें इसको नहीं मिली। सब फ्री हैं, सत्यम फ्री, मैं फ्री, और मेरे हस्बैंड, सारे फ्री हैं हम
जी
लोग।
जी।
कोई किसी से कुछ छिपाता नहीं।
अच्छा।
वी आर नॉट हाइडिंग एनीथिंग, है ना?
जी
कोई कुछ नहीं छिपाता। हर चीज़ साझी करते हैं, इवन सेक्स तक की बातें कर लेते हैं, कोई ऐसी बात
जी
नहीं है।
जी।
इतना ओपन है। तो वो भी ओपन है, पर
हाँ,
ये पीने की आदत से मेरे को हिल जाती हूँ ना जब मैं, बस ये
बिल्कुल।
आज मैं लेटी हुई थी, मैं कहा देखती हूँ अपने अंदर। फिर मैंने दिमाग में आया कि सत्संग चलता है, मैं तो जा रही हूँ वहाँ। फिर अंदर से धक्का मारा तो आपके पास आ गई।
जी
मैं बहुत ट्रू हूँ इन बातों के लिए, बहुत ट्रू हूँ। और मेरा क्वेश्चन तो अपना है ही नहीं। बहुत क्वेश्चन देखे, बहुत बहुत पीड़ा
हाँ,
मैंने ज़िंदगी बिताई
जी जी
है ना?
जी।
तो देखो ना, बस उसका तो कभी बात कही, मैं आऊँगी बेंगलोर, बात का कभी करेंगे। मैं आऊँगी बेंगलोर, ज़रूर ज़रूर आऊँगी। हाँ।
जरूर आए, जरूर।
हाँ।
सत्यम तो कह ही रहे थे पिछली बार कि वो
हाँ
कुछ
जी।
सोच रहे हैं आने की, तो आप भी आ जाइए अगर आ सकते हैं तो।
हाँ
पर
हाँ।
मैं तो बस बेटी के लिए प्रार्थना ही कर सकता हूँ, तो पूरी प्रार्थना है मेरी। और
मेरे
आप।
को एनर्जी इस समय मिले, है
जी।
ना? आपकी एनर्जी मिले कि धड़कन जब तेज हो जाती है ना।
हाँ
कई
जी।
दिन से तो कई दिन से चक्कर आ रहे थे मेरे को, उसी कारण चक्कर आ रहे थे।
जी
बहुत
बिल्कुल
चक्कर आए मेरे को, बॉडी को।
बिल्कुल।
बॉडी मेरी डामाडोल हो गई। मगर अंदर में देखती थी जब, अरे अंदर तो कुछ नहीं अंदर से सुनने पड़ा उसको साथ अटैच हो जाऊँ तो मज़ा आ जाता है ना? जब फिर दिमाग के साथ अटैच हो जाओ, उसके साथ इमोशन
बस
नहीं अटैच हो जाओ, तो पीड़ा
बस
होती
वही,
है ना? है
वही
ना?
है
हाँ।
पूरे सत्संग में, मैंने बस यही बोला है और कुछ बोला है?
हाँ, सही बात है, सही बात है। यही बात है असली तो। सत्य में मेरी बातें बहुत होती हैं इस
हाँ जी।
मामले में।
हाँ
आपके बारे में बहुत
जी। जी
डिस्कशन करते रहते हैं। मैं बोलती रहती हूँ हर चीज़, मेरे अनुभव भी। अनुभव क्या, अब वो तो उसकी देन है, मुझे मैं क्या कहूँ कि मेरा अनुभव है, मैं नहीं कह सकती इन बातों में,
बिल्कुल।
है ना? कहना ही मुश्किल है ना? तो अनंता जी, बहुत मेहरबानी होगी। तो आप मेरे को एनर्जी देते रहा करो ऐसे ज़रा, तो सत्संग में आया करूँगी। बस यही मेरी,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
आज का दिन अच्छा निकल जाए, रात भर, है ना? क्योंकि रात को ही कॉल करते हैं, मैं कहा कि कॉल नहीं करना मेरे को, है ना?
बहुत मुश्किल है, एक चीज़ मैं आपको बोलूंगा, पर बहुत मुश्किल है अप्लाई करना अपने बच्चों के लिए।
हम्म।
पर जितना हो सके, जो भी वो बोले वो आप अपने हृदय में भगवान को देते रहिए। आप
अच्छा।
उसको पर्सनली लेने मत, ऐसा मत
हम्म।
सोचिए वो आपको बोल रही है, जो भी बोल रही है बस भगवान को देते रहिए।
हम्म।
मुश्किल तो है, क्योंकि अपने बच्चों के साथ अटैचमेंट तो होता ही है सबका।
हम्म।
तो जितना हो सके, और आप ईश्वर की शरण में जितना रहेंगे, जैसे आपने कहा कि आपका जो, आपकी जो सच्चाई है आपके अंदर, वो डामाडोल तो नहीं होती, पर इन सिचुएशन में उस सच्चाई के साथ रहना मुश्किल होता है।
हाँ, अच्छे अच्छे डोल जाते हैं।
हाँ, मैं तो बिल्कुल डूल जाता अगर ऐसा होता मेरे साथ।
हाँ।
ये खुद भी बोलते हैं।
रमन के पास एक आदमी पूछते जा रहा है, ध्यान क्या है, ध्यान क्या है, पूछता जा रहा, फिर आखिर वो डंडा उठा गया, डंडा लेके पीछे भागे, फिर आके फिर बैठ गए। वो कर, होता है, होता है
होता
ना?
है।
करना नहीं
बिल्कुल।
पड़ता, अंदर से आवाज आती है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। तो बस अगर आप मुझे पता नहीं आपको इसमें इसमें अगर कुछ सहायता मिलेगी तो अगर उस टाइम जब आपकी बेटी फोन करे बस भगवान का जो भी नाम हो वो पसंद हो वो आप अपने उधर लेते रहिए और और उससे आपको थोड़ा अगर स्ट्रेंथ मिलेगी तो अ, वो भी अच्छा हो सकता है।
कुछ माफ़ी चाहना, आपको डिस्टर्ब किए मैंने बहुत। ऐसे
नहीं नहीं,
सत्संग में कभी कभी आया करूँगी। अच्छा लगता है
बिल्कुल
ना, सत्संग तो
जी
सत्संग ही है, अपना
जी,
संग, गुरु का संग, है ना,
बिल्कुल
एक ही
बिल्कुल
चीज़ तो है कि नहीं?
बिल्कुल।
और ये तो है।
हाँ, आप कभी मुझे डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर सकते, मैं कभी डिस्टर्ब।
Thank
ईश्वर
you,
की
Father.
कृपा आप पे रहे, सब पे रहे, आपके पूरे परिवार पे राम जी की कृपा रहे। Let's go to Adrian.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear.
Hello. Uh, uh, Wanted to speak to you. Some you say many times that you don't have clairvoyance, but I saw you sometimes having intuitions. If I can give, for example, if I can give an example, before my mother passed away, you said something to my brother Sajan. You said something that. She's having a darshan with God and that she's very happy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. It's true that when the Atma is allowed to use this mouth as an instrument, then it is the all-knowing one. So based on its will, based on its uh, timing, it may provide these insights to bring, to spread peace, to spread compassion, to spread love. So you're absolutely right that when our bodies are used to love God and to be an instrument of the Spirit within, then these things may flow through very naturally. Thank you. Thank you for that
Yeah,
reminder. That's true.
thank you for this clarification. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also wanted to ask when you say that
Yeah,
relationships is one.
he asked with so much innocence, no? So you can't even brush the question away. So thank you. So sweet. Yes.
Thank you. When you say that relationships is one of the main things, you mean
Yeah.
like uh, all kinds of relationships, not just romantic relationships, no?
Yeah. 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 Yes, but in
Also,
relationships, these personal romantic relationships could be the cause of biggest suffering for many of us. Not always, but could be.
yes, yes. And may I ask a simple question?
Yeah.
I'm wondering about something.
I love simple questions. Very.
It's like I'm wondering if in your family with your children with
Yeah.
Garimaji, which
Yeah.
language do you speak? You speak English or
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's the best question. That's the reason. Yes, we
you
speak
speak?
English at home because in my family, when I was growing up with my family, we were mostly speaking Hindi with some English. Now, in Garima's family, they grew up in a more modern way, in the most modern city. in India at that time, which was Bombay. It was called Bombay in those days. So they grew up speaking English with each other. So Garima's Hindi was not so good, and so when we met in college, we used to only speak in English with each other. So then, when we got married soon after college, 1 year after college, that continued, and then it continues with the children also in the way that we speak in English at home. My children do speak a little bit of Hindi, but it's not, it's quite raw. It's quite raw. The Hindi is quite raw. And my wife's family has a language called Sindhi, which sounds like Hindi, but Sindhi. So they understand very little of that as well. Yeah.
So is it a problem for the children if they don't know Hindi in India with school and doing things like?
So the
Oh,
local language in the state that we stay in is Kannada, because
okay.
we stay in Karnataka. The local language here is Kannada. A lot of people in Bangalore speak Kannada, then Tamil, then Malayalam. But so they had Kannada in school. They had to learn Kannada in school. So they can get by understanding most of it and speaking very little. But most of Bangalore, at least, the capital city of the state we live in, which is called Bangalore, most of Bangalore is very familiar with English.
Oh, okay.
So we are
Yeah, yeah,
able to manage with most, yes.
yeah. And bless also Kabir, his name.
Yes,
I hope he's
yes,
well with his health and
yes. He's well. Um, just the other day, the doctor asked him to get a chest X-ray because if you remember, he had that lung infection which almost took him from us. But uh, he got the chest X-ray, and there was a moment or two of fear when that X-ray was taken now because every time we took an X-ray in the hospital, it only looked worse till the very end when it started to
yeah,
look better. So, but by God's grace, it came completely clear. So that fear is behind us, and his health seems to be recovering very well by God's grace alone.
the beautiful. Yes, he's
And
staying with you, no? He's not in the
he's,
US.
that's right. He's back in India with us, and my daughter is studying in Singapore. So
Oh,
Singapore is a short flight from Bangalore. So she is able to visit us much more often than my son was able to not visit as often.
yes,
But my daughter is able to come much more often because it's very close.
yes. Okay, thank you, Father,
Oh,
and
always.
bless you all.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Bless you all. Okay, let's go to Clarissa.
Hello, Ananda-ji.
Hello, my dear.
Thank you for picking me up.
Welcome.
The last time was very difficult
Yes,
after the death of my father. I
yes,
live
yes,
in the house with my mother,
yes, my child.
and it's to be so near together. And she was 60 years with my father,
I see. I see.
and is used to have someone near to her. And it's like something. It's like that I feel I'm. She wants to possess me, or that she fights against uh, this going inside because she has no control over me. And it's that
In what
sometimes
way?
I feel
In what way? In what way do you experience this?
it's like that I sometimes I can hear her voice in my head like it's mine, and I
I
do things that I wouldn't do if if I was on my own, and it's that she can really be very
Authoritative, strong.
yes,
No,
yes.
I see.
And on the other hand, it's also that I can see when I'm on my own and I try to sit and I try to go deeper, there is a point where I do not allow to go deeper. There comes a fear, and it's I can see that I go back, that I'm not able to stay and to look.
Yeah. Yes, my child. So, are you attempting to remain in God's presence constantly? And what tool are you using to remain in God's presence?
I when I try to I do both. I do the prayer and I do inquiry.
Yeah.
And for inquiry, I have a book and I write because I feel it's then I'm more connected with the.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. You can use the book for that. That's fine. Now, in the course of a day, there must be some times where your prayer or your inquiry is easier, and there must be other times where it seems more difficult, isn't it?
When I'm outside, I'm not on my own, and I try to sit. It's very difficult. It's
More
and
difficult.
I can see that I just do it without that I just say the name. It's not more when I remember to.
I see. So you're saying when you're outside, it's much more difficult and you are only able to say the name rarely when you remember. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yes.
I see. And what percentage of your day goes outside like this?
Hmm?
What percentage
I
of your day would be spent outside in this way?
now I don't have a work. I quit my job and I have more time. So I the last months I tried to sit often.
Okay.
But it's also that I sometimes I feel connected, and otherwise it's like I never had a connection to God, and it's really crazy. It's
Yes, but even if it doesn't feel like the connection is there, just to take God's name or to do the self-inquiry is good enough in those moments. So don't be hard on yourself. Know that every time you remember God or you try to look at who you really are, it deepens you. And the more you practice this, the more all these oppressive ideas, all these narratives of separation, all these narratives of oppression, they will become lighter and lighter. So I pray for you, and may your prayer, may your inquiry deepen, and may all these fears start to dissolve more and more in God's light, in God's presence. But just have this strong faith that no matter what, God is with you, and He is the most important one. He's the strongest one always with you, so you have nothing to fear.
yes. I also pray for trust. Yes.
Very good, very good.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I also ask for blessings for the family, for my brothers and my mother.
But
Thank you.
Thank you, my child.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Let's go to Divan. I'll go up. Just. Thank you. Hello, my dear.
Master, my head is at your feet. My head is at your feet, Master.
I bless you. I bless you, my child. Bless you.
There was a doubt in me, and you just removed that doubt. You just removed the doubt. Because I used to always have a sense that as long as I am, then it means there's no God. But you just removed that misunderstanding. I
As
just
long as I
know
am.
that as long as I am, there is no God. And it just, and I just knew that that came from straight from God because it just landed inside my heart.
Very
Because I was
good.
having this doubt and I was praying because I always felt that because I cannot remove it. So I felt that because I cannot remove it, I used to always have this sort of secret doubt that this is still, because I still am somehow. And it just something I just released from that just by you just saying that that's not what you mean when you speak of the me. And
Exactly.
I've been
Exactly.
trapped,
This is
subtly
very
trapped,
yes,
despite
the trap.
oh, despite like all the blessings and grace and everything. Something I was secretly feeling that something, even though I knew in my heart it wasn't true, but I just had to hear it
Yes.
to be echoed in this way. And I just know that this is just the grace of God. This is the miracle of God for you to be able to see this. I'm just so grateful.
This is very beautiful. So we were talking earlier with Amol, and many times I was saying that this child in Satsang had this doubt that I'm not able to get rid of this me. No matter what I do, this me doesn't go away. Until this me doesn't go away, they cannot be God. No? So what? But the mind is such a sneaky trickster that it made the presence of God itself seem like that is the me that has to be get rid of. Now that is the light of this universe. That is the light of this entire waking state, and that is not going to go. So what a trick it is from the mind that the very presence of being I am itself, it says that that is the me that needs to go. And that will never go. By God's grace, that should never go. So remember what Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi said? He said, till the I am, there is no problem. Only after I am something, that something is the problem. The I am is not the problem. The I am is the presence of God itself. I am that I am. So it's very good that you see this, because this subtle trick like that could keep us trapped in a conceptual operation for a long time. Feel like, why is my spirituality not working? The me is not going at all. How do you know there's a me? That this I feel this sense of presence. But that sense of presence is God's presence.
It is because that's where the love comes from, and that's where the joy comes from, and the bliss.
Exactly.
And that's why I speak to God from, and I cannot remove it. Like it's like it is itself like a temple itself. So I cannot remove it. So
By
when this
God's grace,
doubt,
we can't remove it. Yes.
when this doubt arises in me somehow,
Yeah.
it sometimes it's like it's nothing at all, but sometimes it has a sort of thing because it's like, yeah, you can see this. Because as long as if you can see this, then it's probably there's like it's a me. So and and because there's also because the sense of the like the me that I talk about, it is also true that it has like a kind of like a I don't know how to say it has like a somebodyness about it. It also has that, and so sometimes maybe this is where the sort of confusion was happening because but this cannot be removed. Like, but this one you can leave it, but you cannot leave this. You just can't leave it. No matter how you do, you can't leave it. And because of that, I was having this subtle doubt, and I'm
Very
just so
good.
grateful.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy to hear this report. Now, it is also true that what you said, that there can be a like a constricted sense of somebodyness which can appear within the I amness. But our job is to nothing to do with that. That has to go on its own, as we don't buy into any of the narratives of the me. And we are not to worry about that at all. Like if there's a constricted sense of me-ness, which doesn't seem like the openness of the sense I am, it feels like something is getting constricted over there. That organically gets cleaned up or vomited out in this process of loving God, in this process of remaining with the truth. That's very good. It's very good. Bless you, bless you. Yeah, let's go to Karunamai.
Hello, Father. Thank you.
Hello. Very well.
Mm. I just want to ask you, you said something earlier about Antakarna
Yeah.
and the mind, that both should be inward focused. And I was going to ask, Antakarna is the soul?
Yeah.
Or-
It's if you look at the traditional definitions in both cultures, so Antakarna comes from Indian spirituality and the soul comes from Christian spirituality. There may be some distinction, but mostly we can use them interchangeably, or I take the liberty of using them interchangeably. So as long as you have a sense of what I'm saying, this inner instrument, which seems to have this agency to turn towards God, or seems to want to immerse itself in worldly narratives and things, then so in the Indian definition, it is called Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahamkara. So the mind, memory, intellect, and ego collectively is called the Antakarna. But at the root of the
Ah,
Antakarna is the presence of God. So some teachers in India say that there are 7 layers of our existence. Uh, mind, memory, intellect, body, breath, mind, memory, intellect, ego, self. I may have forgotten one, uh,
mhm.
but this whole set of layers of our existence, some may call that our antakarna, but the most popular definition is the 4 things:
Okay.
mind, intellect, memory, and ego. Mhm.
Ah, thank
But
you.
but why that is important is to say that this is called the inner instrument. You see, it's called the inner instrument in Indian spirituality, and the inner instrument can be immersed in God's love and light, or it can be immersed in worldly things. So in Christianity, if you were to make the distinction, I know that these words can be confusing, but if you call this inner instrument the soul, and that which is at the very center of the inner instrument, the spirit or the Atma, then it is very helpful that our soul can be immersed in the light of spirit, in the love of spirit, or in worldly things. So instead of making the subtle distinctions and clarifications every time I use these 2 terms, I'm just using them interchangeably. I think it's quite all
You
right.
you use interchangeably?
I'm using Antakarna and soul interchangeably and Atma and spirit interchangeably.
Okay. Because now what I see in my experience, and the reason I picked on this is because you said, I think you said something like mind and Antakarna turned inwards. So the reason I picked on this is
No, I
because
said
sometimes,
attention. I
yeah,
said attention, like our attention could be the could be the initiator of the inner turning many times. We turn our attention inwards, but the
yeah,
turning inwards is not merely the attention turning inwards. It has to be the Antakarna itself.
uh-huh. Okay. Now I'll tell you what my problem is.
Yeah, yeah,
Because somehow I connected this to how I experience sometimes in my sadhana. So
yeah,
some now when I do self-inquiry, the mind becomes quiet,
yeah,
and some now sometimes there is love in the heart area, in the
yeah,
subtle heart, yeah, not the
yeah,
not the one that pumps the blood, and sometimes which is beautiful, and I feel somehow this contributes to my connection with God or higher states.
absolutely.
Yeah. But sometimes there is this dullness that comes.
Yeah,
And then this is kind of difficult to overcome.
yes,
Like I I I do inquire into it. Like it's an energy. It's almost like if I have to put some my own interpretation, it's like an energy that grips my soul or my atma somehow. And it takes a bit of effort actually to get out
it
of
will
it.
grip. So you mean your soul or your Antakarna, not your Atma. Nothing can grip your Atma. The Atma is the spirit.
Ah, yeah. So my soul,
Yes.
my heart,
Yeah.
I don't know,
That,
this
that's good. That's
energetic
good.
thing
Yes.
that can take you,
Yeah.
um, that can help you be absorbed, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if it's
Yeah.
kind of locked into this dullness,
Absolutely.
it feels dull. So,
Yeah.
and um, I would appreciate some guidance on this.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
can tell you what I normally pray or I do some movement when this comes,
Yeah.
but seems and actually we did self-inquire together, or you guided in self-inquiry,
Yeah.
and you said at the end that, oh, I guided myself trying to guide you or something. And I
Yes.
don't know, something,
Uh-huh.
some I think some sadness probably hit me in that moment. But and after that
Yeah.
satsang, it felt really dull. Like, gosh, it was so like I went to the temple, I prayed, um, so it's very. I don't know if it's my resistance or if it's an outside energy or something together. Or so you speak now. I give you the background, and now I'm
Thank
listening.
you. I love this kind of question. Firstly, thank you so much because it's a practitioner's question. It's not conceptual. It's not some airy-fairy idea. It is an experience that you have while trying to practice the presence of God. So thank you. Thank you for this question. So when we turn inwards, let me recap for you because these are very subtle things and often, although I repeat them, they may be forgotten easily. Whatever practice we may be doing, we come to a point where we are actively trying to turn and offer everything to the heart. So as part of that process, like you said, the mind may become quiet. You may not find your layer, your emotional layer existing anymore, or there may be an outpouring of love. You will find that everything becomes quiet and becomes still. And so then, but it feels like I am having to turn inwards. So this step is unavoidable. our consent,
Can I pause you for a second, please?
1 second. So our offering of ourselves in whichever way, either in the process of self-inquiry or in taking God's name, when we offer ourselves and we come into this turning inwards, using the tools that we have, now that is called the active recollection, where I feel like I am exerting some agency to push myself inwards. So that is active. You can ask about this.
I didn't want to ask. Some emotion came in, and I wanted to ask you to pause for a second because I couldn't focus.
Right. But you got a sense of
And
what I'm saying?
I also want to offer this up.
Very good. And there's recording, so you can hear the
Yeah,
recording.
I understand. So when there is an I that starts the inquiry, let's say, or starts the practice, whichever the practice is, that's active.
That's active. And then
Like turning inwards, yeah.
yes, we make an intentional attempt to turn inwards. Correct. Absolutely right. Then it feels like after a while, it feels like not only do I not have to turn, I'm being pulled in whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
You just feel like, you know, like many of the Bhakti saints also say that, pull me in, sudh lijiye hamari, like take me in your heart, so then this pulling inwards with no weight, no agency, nothing being, no choice being applied from our side to turn inwards. This is called passive recollection. You see, so the more we learn to remain inactive, the more we will taste this passive recollection where it feels like now, earlier I was having to keep some weight to stay underwater, so to speak. Now I have to exert some pressure to come out. And all of us have experienced that at some point or the other where we are so deeply pulled inside that we need to like snap ourselves out in a way, like exert some force for the layers to come out in that way. You see, to recombine, to reappear in that way, that which had become like a tiny point. All these layers just became a tiny point and were pulled into our heart. Then to operate as layers again, we have to like pull ourselves out. You see?
I didn't get so far in my practice.
No, okay, let
To
me
have to
make it
work too
simple.
much.
Maybe I'm making it sound too fancy. Uh, so there must have been some times where, like after hearing a beautiful bhajan or after a strong satsang, after a beautiful inquiry or prayer, you just feel so naturally in that stillness
Yeah.
that if, for example, your phone reminder rings, it is not so easy to bring your focus back to the phone. It feels like it takes some effort to come out of that into the worldly mode. You see, so all of us at some point have had at least a taste of this. It gets deeper and deeper, of course. So this is passive recollection. The more we remain in passive recollection, then we have something called Savikalpa Samadhi. And that's all we'll cover today. But the Savikalpa Samadhi is that you have the sense of the world still there. It's still, its voices may come, its sounds may come, but there is no agency, there is no volition, there is no desire to engage with anything in the world. You don't feel like you are something that exists as a body. Whatever is appearing within yourself and it is allowed to appear. But the sense of separation no longer operates. So this is also called the prayer of quiet. Then what happens? Okay, I said that's the last one, but let me take this one. then what happens is that they come to a state where there is no world, there is no body, there is no sensation, there is no breath, there is no appearance of anything at all. There is just a sliver of the waking state, I amness, which remains. Otherwise, it would just be like sleep state, the sheer dissolution of the universe itself. And yet, just an awareness of the I am to the extent that I am not asleep. A wakefulness is there very gently, but the rest of the waking state, the functioning of attention, the functioning of perception, the body movements, none of that is there. So that is called the prayer of union or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay, so the question was about what to do with the dryness or the dullness which comes sometimes when we are in the process of turning inwards. Now, the greatest sages have reported weeks, months, sometimes years of dryness and aridity, but they have to just continue in the faith that if God is giving this to them, it must be for His curriculum. It must be for our growth somewhere, that it makes us more humble. It teaches us not to expect anything in return. We love God for the sake of only loving Him, not for any experience. So, to put it very crudely, like we can't say when God does these things, but to put a very crude example, if our idea of spiritual progress becomes how sweet it felt in my heart today, and that
Yeah.
progress can quickly become pride, so then God knows and He will not provide that sweetness for some time. As long as we don't become unselfish in our quest for God or truth, which means that I am not expecting any experience, no, not even joy, not even bliss, none of these sweetness. As a result of my prayer, it is just to make myself available to Him, to do as He may please with me. Then, then He makes us this way through His curriculum by spoon feeding exactly what needs to be fed to us at what time. You see? So don't fear the dryness, accept it as His will, but don't let your mind bully you and say you're doing something wrong. It is a very natural part of this process that sometimes you will find a great love, sweetness, joy, bliss, all of these days, and sometimes it'll just be dull or blank. It's all right. It's all right.
And in my tendency, it seems that I want to overcome this dullness when it comes.
We can't overcome it. We can't overcome it. There's nothing we can do about it, because remember that in our recollection we've already handed over all our
Yeah.
mechanisms. There is no
Yeah.
mechanism left which we can use to overcome now. So all
Yeah.
that mechanism has been left behind. So it is not possible for us to do anything at all over there. The very meaning of recollection means that I've handed over everything. There is no tool left which is in my hand now. Everything has been handed over to God. So then our very idea of overcoming has to be post facto, post the recollection. We can have these ideas of what I should be
Yeah.
able to do, not, but they don't apply over there. Now, suppose you say that I will do ABC, XYZ to overcome it. By
Yeah.
the time you come into recollection, all that mechanism to do ABC is not there. So we
Yeah.
can't do it. It's a
Yeah.
sheer survival in the will of God, the way He keeps us over there.
Be- yeah. Because somehow, when you go in this deeper state, I thought maybe it's like a resistance, also like a resistance mechanism from my side,
See,
um,
resistance means that you're talking about layers of mind, which are looking at layers of emotion and saying, this contraction is there, I must be doing something wrong. All of these things are at the outer layers. We are not talking about recollection then. We're talking then
Yeah.
about the pathway to recollection, which is, in the pathway to recollection, we will encounter all these fears, distractions, world, the thoughts of relationships, the thoughts of money, all of these things will come to prevent the recollection. But I'm saying that once
Yeah.
you come to that recollection, whether there is an outpouring of love, peace, joy, or it is dull and arid, we have no control over that.
Okay.
You see? And remember to look
So
at love, peace.
if I'm empty
Yeah,
and dullness comes,
yeah,
I just sit with
yeah.
it.
Yes. Because you're not even judging the dullness when you're empty. It is post facto.
It brings the spiritual ego back, saying, "Oh, something is wrong. Let's work on it."
Yes. So don't leave your recollection for anything at all. The active recollection, when we
Yeah.
are attempting to go inwards, then for these thoughts, don't bring yourself back out.
Yeah.
And remember that the outpouring is the outpouring. The outpouring of love, peace, and joy is not a requirement. It is a gift. Like in Indian temples, you get the prasad, the offering after darshan. So the
Yeah.
outpouring is not the darshan. We have to keep our eyes focused on the darshan itself. We have to keep our eyes available for the revelation itself.
Oh, out outpouring being the fragrances
The
that
fragrance
you
is
like.
the love. Exactly. Exactly.
But the darshan is higher than is beyond
It's beyond.
these fragrances, good
Absolutely.
or bad.
Absolutely right.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Uh,
This is good. I love this conversation because it is taking the words of satsang, it is applying them, facing the challenges within, and then asking questions about the challenges faced within. So we've left the realms of but what if and speculation and all of that. So all of us, as we are deepening in satsang, will have more and more of these practitioners' questions. I'm very happy. Very good.
Thank you.
Very welcome. That's it. That's it. Very good. Okay. So let's go to Gabriella. I feel like we'll have to end with Gabriella.
Thank you.
My
Yes,
body is
please.
also a bit unwell. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
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 I try to say it in
You
English.
try. Yes.
Yes. Something is fire inside me when you spoke about self inquiry. You hit something inside me very
Yes.
strong,
Inside
and
who?
I
Because you're
don't
talking
know.
about self-inquiry.
Yes, yes,
Remember, that is the key there. That whatever appearance may come in our self-inquiry, and I'm only saying this because you said about self-inquiry. So I'm only pausing you there because the pathway of self-inquiry is that whatever the appearance may be, whether it is fire, whether it is sweetness, whether it is love, whether it is resistance, whatever may be appearing, you have to stay with the question, who is witnessing that appearance? It is not about creating a particular state for yourself. It is not about being in a pleasant state or peace or any of that. It is to use whatever is appearing to check in on who's the witness of that. So who witnesses the fire? Is that on fire? Can the witness catch fire?
I am maybe I am with my attention in the fire. I can't see the one who is
Yes, okay,
watching
it's
it.
very good. It's very good. So attention, one end is on fire. Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Mhm.
where does attention report back to? Attention is perceiving fire on one end, but it is reporting back to you. Now, that you on this end, is that also on fire?
It seems like that I am in this fire. It seems like.
We cannot rely in inquiry on any seeming. You have to really look. Is the one that witnesses the fire, is that one also on fire?
I can't answer, Father.
Very good. Don't worry. This is good. The I don't know is a very high answer. Don't be scared of the I don't know. Because if you get scared of the I don't know, you will never truly inquire. You will rush to an answer. So I'm already happy with your answer that you can't answer. You see? That means that you're allowing the unknown to be for some time. Now we have to remain in this unknown for some time before that which is beyond knowing becomes known. Sorry, I can try and simplify that. For a while, it will seem like I am not able to make a report about what is happening to me because I can't find this I. I don't know whether the witness is on fire. I notice some fire sensation, some emotion, some contraction, some thoughts of fire, but I can't really say yet whether the witness is also on fire. And that I don't know is very good because that I don't know brings us to that stillness where the true revelation of who I really am can happen. So don't rush to know. Don't rush to know. Accept the fire, accept everything that is appearing. Stay with the question, who witnesses it? Love the unknown, love the I don't know. Don't try to jump out of I don't know into knowing. Then, when it is God's grace, that revelation which is unquestionable will reveal to you the nature of your reality. Till then, love the unknown. Your mind may resist, your mind may poke you now. Say, no, but this time. Not falling for any of that. Let it come, let it go. Let it come, let it go. The mind's narratives will never give you the answer to who you are. And that is the only answer you are interested in. So everything it offers you, you say, move on, move on.
I love you so much, Father.
I love you so much too, my child. Bless you.
Thank you so much.
I was going to ask whether these are bad tears, but your answer, what you said clarified that. Thank you so much. Bless you. All my love, all my blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll just go to Samya for a minute.
Hi, Father.
Hello, hello, my dear.
Hello. Hmm. May I just speak out what happened innocently, Father, without thinking about spirituality or thing?
Can see my dear.
Um, just wanted to come to you, Father. I feel like what has happened is not so important. Like, okay, in the gathering, it always happens, okay? Just with some interaction. First of all, I need to say that I was keeping to the last, but it's just thank you, Father. Thank you so much for the blessings you gave me. Just recently, even when I went to Rumi, Mevlana, it was always such a, I don't want to say torture, but it was at the same time like hardship to be there. It was just so much burning. But recently, how I experienced just amazing. Just so thank you. And even
Great.
in this gathering, just thank you so much for this blessing. And when I came here, it feels like, yeah, just the power of your blessing, Father. Sometimes we feel like, why I did not ask this before, but of course, right on time always. Um, it's not so important, but I just want to share that, Father. Um, yes, sometimes with some interaction, it's just they drain to you, okay?
Yeah.
And it's not just draining. As if like the whole scene is changing after that interaction, okay? Like
Yeah.
you are flowing in your drunkenness,
Yeah.
you are not aware of anything at all,
Yeah.
especially in this kind of environment. But with some interaction, and you know that they are, I don't want to say problematic, but always it happens like this, But again, it happens, and the whole scene is changing, and yeah, I don't know what is that. I'm so lucky that when it happened, after that, I immediately came to Satsang, and there is Satsang, because, yeah, it's like I cannot continue with this, So I don't know what to do with this, but I think I just wanted to bring that to you and just want to get rid of this. I don't know, Father.
It can happen, and it does happen. Sorry, there's an echo coming back. Can we just
I'm
listen to
sorry, I'm muting myself.
when these difficult things happen, that we were in God's presence, and then you have an unpleasant interaction, somebody attacks you, or you get some news which is not so good. All these things happen, and we have to try and practice, even when it is so difficult, to remain in God's presence. Because you're absolutely right that one interaction like that can change our whole flow. Yeah, you just like we are in satsang, then we go home, then you talk to someone or some interaction happens, it can change your entire frame of mind, can change your whole flow. So the very point of spiritual sadhana, spiritual practice, is to remain in God's presence in spite of whatever the provocation, distraction, temptation may be. It's not easy. And that's why I never say that the path of spirituality is easy. It is the most difficult project we have taken on in our lives. To transcend Maya and to live in God's light is the most ego-wrenching, by definition, project that we can take on. Everything else we can try and do egotistically. We can try using the me and do. This is that which squeezes the hell out of us, the hell in the form of the ego itself. This is so literally squeezes hell out of us so that we can remain in heaven. So it is very difficult. The more you practice in times where you're not in that pressure, the easier it'll be for you to replicate that in times of pressure. That's why it's called practice. It's like a stage play. You can't just go and perform Macbeth or Hamlet. Just let's go on stage, let's perform Hamlet or, Macbeth, just like that. You have to practice for a long time before you can, isn't it? And even if once your dialogues are clear, once you've learned everything, even then, because there will be other stimulus, people looking at you, there may be fear. So you have to practice it over and over again to transcend all of those things, so that then you can apply it on stage when thousands of people are looking at you. You see? So in the same way, in our life, we have to practice God as much as possible in a quiet, empty room, and when we are not disturbed, as much as we can, so that then we have the strength to practice it with our family. Then when we practice it with our family, then we have the strength to practice it with the world. Then we have the practice with all of humanity. You see, so we can grow in our practice like that. But if you say first only I'll be a sage and practice it with all of humanity, it's not going to work out, because somebody will come and press your button, one button on the remote, and you start dancing. So it's not going to work in that way. So as much as we can, first we practice by ourselves with as much absence of stimulus as possible, then with more stimulus, then with more stimulus, then with more stimulus. You see, then our whole life becomes the practice itself. Then the sharing of God becomes just natural in your life, because you're not shaken because of the fact that you have to speak to people and stage fright and all of those things, because you just practice living in God's presence so much that you're not shaken by these things. So I would just say keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. There will in my life, I've never come to a point where I've said, now anything may happen and I'll be unshaken. Something may happen after speaking all these big, big things. I may go back to my home and I may hear something and I will go to the me. It's very possible. So I'm not trying to present this to you as if somebody who's fully accomplished in this is presenting, but I'm saying that this is what we have to deepen in more and more. See? So just have to, and God, we have to trust God that He always puts some spice, the right amount of spice in our food. Otherwise, we can feel very accomplished to ourselves very easily. I'm so empty, nothing is happening, all is fine. See? So then every day, you will see some spices there in your food. Just the right amount. So if you learn to take that spice and stay with God, then maybe bigger challenges may come. Bigger challenges may come. It's a very spoon-fed, very merciful process. If we are not seeing it, then we have not noticed the tiny amount of opportunities to practice love, to practice God that He has been sending. Okay. All right, my child, I'm going to end here because I see my body is starting to feel. Love you, love you, love you all so much.